Welcome to your quest. For this quest, I'd like you to add spell descriptions for both Electrocute and Arcane Shards. So this should be pretty straightforward. It should give you a little bit of practice using the formatting for rich text blocks. So pause the video and create your spell descriptions now. Okay, so for our spell descriptions, we're going to first make sure that we have C++ classes backing our abilities, as that's where we need to override the getDescription function. So I'm going to go to Class Settings in Arcane Shards, and this is based on Aura Damage gameplay ability, so I'm going to need to subclass a Arcane Shards C++ class. And if I go into Lightning, GA Electrocute, and check its class settings, it's based on Aura Beam spell. So I'm going to need to subclass Electrocute from Aura Beam spell specifically. So we need two new classes, one based on Aura Damage gameplay ability, and one based on Aura Beam spell. Let's go ahead and make those C++ classes. We'll go ahead and go into Aura Public Ability System Abilities, and we'll make one based on Aura Damage gameplay ability. Here it is. I'm going to create a C++ class derived from it and call this Arcane Shards. We'll go ahead and create that class. I'm going to click No. I'm not done yet. I'm going to create one based on Aura Beam spell. So create C++ class derived from this. I'm going to call it Electrocute. And create that class and close the editor down. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close all tabs. I'd like to use my Aura Firebolt as an example. This is a pretty good example of how to format our description string. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to have that open. And I'm also going to open Arcane Shards and Electrocute. And we'll go ahead and get the header files open for these as well. So here's Arcane Shards. And I'll go ahead and open Aura Firebolt while I'm at it. And now we have these classes open. So I need getDescription and getNextLevelDescription. I'll copy that along with the public access level and go back to Arcane Shards and paste, and go to Electrocute and paste. And I can just implement these functions. So getting my definitions, I don't need to call super here. And I'm going to do this for Arcane Shards as well. And delete the calls to super. Now I'm going to go to Aura Firebolt for getDescription, and this is a pretty good example of how to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the contents of getDescription, and we'll start with Electrocute. I'm going to paste it here. So I'll start at the top with the title. I'm going to replace it with all caps Electrocute. And at the top, we have our basic information, level, mana cost, cooldown, and then our actual description. And for this description, I'm going to say emits a beam of lightning connecting with the target, repeatedly causing, I'm going to remove that colon there, and it's going to say %d along with how much damage. It's going to be lightning damage. And I'm going to say with a chance to stun. Now this is for if the level is equal to 1. If the level is greater than 1, then I'm also going to want to use a number here. And we're using fmathmin between level and a maximum here. And for Electrocute, we need to know what that maximum is, and we can go into Aura Beam spell.h. And we have max num shock targets. I'm going to copy that and use that here in Electrocute. And this number here is going to be the minimum between level and max num shock targets. So what I can do in my description here is I can take that into account. So the title is going to still be Electrocute. Level, mana cost, and cooldown will be the same, but this description is different. And by the way, it shouldn't say number of firebolts. It should say number of shock targets. So we're going to say emits a beam of lightning propagating to %d additional targets nearby, causing %d lightning damage with a chance to stun. Now, this is to %d additional targets. So we're going to say additional number of shock targets, which means we need to take max num shock targets -1. Because we're already talking about the first beam, these are the additional targets, right? Okay, so with that, we have our description. We just need our next level description. We can look at Aura Firebolt, and Aura Firebolt is really just using the same thing as our description here in the else case. So we're going to do that in Electrocute. We'll take the else case here and paste it here. We still need these variables, so we'll copy them from the top. And for the title, we're going to say next level, just like we do in Aura Firebolt, next level. Okay, so there's our descriptions for Electrocute. Let's take care of Arcane Shards, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and actually copy the contents from Electrocute and go into Arcane Shards for Get Description and use it here. Now, for Arcane Shards, we don't have a max num shock targets. In fact, we haven't even implemented a max for Arcane Shards when it comes to how many shards, right? So Arcane Shards can have a int32 called max num shards. And we can set that to 11 and give it a uProperty, edit defaults only. Now, yes, all of these have some kind of max, so we could have a generic max variable on the Aura damage gameplay ability. So that's something that you could do if you want to do that. Here in Arcane Shards, I'm going to use my max num shards. And we can change our description to Arcane Shards. So for my description, I'm going to say summon shards of arcane energy, causing radial damage of, and we'll say this much damage at the shard origin. Now, that's if we're level 1, but if we're more than level 1, then here we'll say arcane shards, and we'll say summon %d shards of arcane energy, causing %d arcane damage. By the way, this should say arcane damage. So back up here, we'll say causing radial arcane damage. And we can even say it the same way here. We can say causing radial arcane damage of %d damage with a chance to, we're not going to say with a chance to stun. We'll just say %d arcane damage for now, as we haven't implemented our debuff for arcane yet. So we'll just say this. I'll do it here as well. Actually, we can say damage at the shard origins. Down here, we'll say damage at the shard origins. That's what we'll say. And we're saying the number of shards, so we don't need to subtract 1 from max num shards. And we can simply copy this and use it in get next level description. And we can go ahead and get those parameters from the top. And of course, we're just using these parameters, but as I mentioned previously in an earlier video, you could use any number of parameters, member variables, any information you want. You can even add input parameters to the function if you want more information. Okay, so that gives us our descriptions, we just need to make sure to use our parent classes that we've just created. So let's make sure we do that in the editor. Okay, so I'm going to get these abilities back open. I'm going to take GA Electrocute, go to Class Settings, and set its parent class to Electrocute. There it is. And I can go to Arcane Shards and go to its class settings and search for Arcane Shards and use that as the parent class. Now, Arcane Shards is really just hard-coding the number of shards that we're spawning. It's called num points. Now, instead of using num points, we can simply use our max num shards. Now, we didn't make that a blueprint read-only, so I think I'll just go ahead and do that. Arcane Shards, this can be blueprint read-only. So launching again. And back into Arcane Shards. Now I should be able to use it. Max num shards, here it is. We'll hook that in and delete num points. We won't use that anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And now we're basing this on our ability level. So we can test out a couple things. Let's press play and open our spells. And here we see Arcane Shards level 1, no mana cost, no cooldown, summon shards of arcane energy, causing radial arcane damage of 10 at the shard origin. And then our next level description, it still says Arcane Shards, so we'll fix things as we see them here. First of all, Arcane Shards says summon shards for level 1, so we'll go ahead and fix that. So we'll say summon a shard, even though each of these do have multiple shards, right? But summon a shard, okay? And then the title here should say next level. So for get next level description, we should say next level here. There's some next level stuff. And other than that, we just need mana cost and cooldown, and then our arcane shards will work. Let's select our electrocute, and there it is, level 1, mana cost, cooldown. Emits a beam of lightning connecting with the target, repeatedly causing 1 lightning damage with a chance to stun. Level 2 has a mana cost of 1.5, same cooldown, and it still causes 1 damage at level 2. Let's make sure that that's correct. Let's go to Blueprints Ability System Data, CT Damage, and select Electrocute and see what it should be at level 2. At level 2, it's still about 1 damage. So yes, we could make it increase a little faster. And now at 2, it should be 2, so we should see that reflect in the menu. And it says, yes, 2 there, so that's better. Arcane Shards causes 19 damage at level 2, so it's a little bit more powerful. I think I'm cool with that. All right, so we have some descriptions, and they're looking great. So next time we compile, those fixes will be in place, and now we just need cost and cooldown for Arcane Shards, and we'll handle that next. Great job, and I'll see you soon.